The Hearts of Gold program is brought to you by the Grow and Share Network in partnership with Off the Walter Media Productions.
Welcome to Hearts of Gold. Today's guest is Kelsey from Citrus Council. Hi, Kelsey. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm great. Thank you for joining us. Why don't you tell us about your Gold Award project and what you did?
For my Girl Scout Gold Award project, I constructed a playground and delivered donations down in a community in Haiti.
And how did you identify that you wanted to do this playground and that you wanted to do it in Haiti?
Back in 2016, during the events of Hurricane Matthew, a lot of devastation occurred in the Western Hemisphere, and Haiti was the most impacted, mainly in the south of the country. So a lot of destruction was implemented within the country. And so, of course, rations and supplies needed to be shipped out as soon as possible. So I saw this as a devastation and decided to take action, and I wanted to help the people down there. So I met the Haitian consulate of Orlando. She was one big helper of my project. I met with her and told her I need these specific donations to be delivered as soon as possible. Do you know any cities or districts that is close enough that we can deliver these rations? And she told us a district called Nips down in southern Haiti. That was one area that was affected the most. It took the most impact. So we both agreed to deliver the donations over to that specific area. So I started a donation drive. The donation drive was 6 weeks long, and I had participation from doctor's offices, my dance studio, my local church, my school, and Citrus Council even, my Girl Scout Citrus Council. So I got all of these participants. I believe 10 of them was the amount that donated for my project. And I asked for clothing, baby items, baby food, clothes, sneakers, anything of that sort of nature, especially the children food and hygiene products, because as you can imagine, there would be no power down there after that devastation. So those supplies needed for small children and babies was really, really important. It needed to be down there immediately. After calculating the total donations from hygiene products to toys to clothing, there was over 2.5 tons of donations delivered just from 10 participants. And I think that's amazing. Also, my school donated the most, which I'm very excited about. I was really impressed with. I'm glad that the school got involved and everything. And I introduced the announcement of the donation drive over the PA system. So every morning I would, tell everybody, hey, see if you can bring this and drop it at one of the dispensers on campus, just a way to kind of be included in the project. And we spent a weekend packaging the boxes, sorting them out by size, by gender, by specific things that were specific to its category. So we spent about 8 hours packaging it, and what we did was we rented a U-Haul truck, and we put all of those boxes. There were 97 boxes of donations that were driven down to Port Canaveral. And I wondered in my project, how was I going to transport all of these donations to Haiti? As you can imagine, there was a lot of border laws, water laws, and all of these permissions needed in order to be granted permission to ship things overseas, because it requires a lot of money, but also a lot of permission. Mm-hmm. And so I was searching for many cruise lines and many companies that would help bring my items to Haiti. And during the weekend of Christmas, or I believe it was the week of Christmas, we found one cruise company, which was Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines, and they offered to ship the 97 boxes for free at no cost. And they were going to a port of call, which was Labadee, Haiti. So that was a way to sort of bring the donations there at that time. So you can imagine how much money that could have been spent, but I'm grateful that they were able to receive my donations and ship them for free. So the items were shipped on one of their cruise lines going to their port of call. And when they got there, I had a chance to see the boxes be taken out of the docking bay And so the donations were then driven by truck to the back of the area where the guests are not allowed to go. And I met with the Haitian consul of Orlando again, and we sort of decided where we want the donations to go from there. And so we had 3 trucks mounted with each of the donations, as many as possible. There were 3 trucks. 2 of them went to another city, and the one that I was in, we went down to the district. So it was about a 5.5-hour drive from the port of call from Labadie, Haiti, down to where Port-au-Prince is, which is the capital. That's the district of where the donations were going to be delivered. And it was quite a drive. I mean, it was quite a drive. So there were so many bumpy roads and, mountains and everything. And when we got there, I asked Miss Nadine if I could open the boxes behind the truck, and she said, "You're more than welcome to." So I stood in the back of the truck, of a pickup truck, and I opened these boxes of clothes and toys and food and soap, and I just started handing them to families, women, children, adults, anybody who needed them. And everybody just, took something that they needed and stepped away. But just knowing that these people needed those specific donations was important. And I could tell that they were very, very thankful that these donations and these rations were being delivered in a time of need. And I saw that from their reactions and their, thanks and things like that, and sort of international language speaking. So I think the donations really helped them in that time of need, and it was a huge success. And for part 2 of my project was the playground. And one thing I should mention, I know it sounds flip-flop, but the playground idea came first, and then the donations happened. So part 2, technically, was the building of the playground. So many kids, after the devastation, do not have a place to play, and they're not getting the physical education that are needed in a child's childhood. Physical education is important. So I saw that and decided to build a playground. I wanted a playground that wasn't too big, but appropriate for all ages. So I went down to my local shopping market and purchased a playground. It had 2 swings, a monkey bar, a rock climbing wall, and a slide, and also a mini dome. So it was appropriate for a general audience. Families can play. So it was a really good decision. And I again met with the Haitian consulate of Orlando, and we shipped it over airplane, and it arrived at her house. So I met her at her house, flying from Orlando to Miami, and then taking another plane to Port-au-Prince where I would meet her. And I drove all the way down to her house, and we said, let's go. And I asked her, I need a spot to build this place. I can't just build it in a dirt area. I needed a place where people can go and, it's like a community place, like a playground in your local community, something like that. So she actually met with the mayor of the district, and I had a chance to talk with him and tell him, do you have any space that we can use for this playground? And he showed us a 49 square foot area. It was perfect. It had 1 tree. It looked very spacious, like a place where you could have a party. It was very, very intact. I brought the playground supplies to that area, and it took about 6 hours to build. I had the help from anybody who wanted to join and help me out. I had people in the community to come help me out, and along with the playground, we also had a geodome. So that way kids, if they want to play on that and the playground, they have something both. And we also added some park benches so that people can sit on and just, enjoy their stay at the park. During the process of building, I didn't know Creole. Their native language is Creole. So I don't know Creole, but through international signals and, hand signals, I was able to communicate to them, and I didn't even have to talk. I was, I'd say, look at this, or I need a screwdriver, or I need this specific tool. So communicating in that sort of sense, it made me open to the fact that in a world with so many people, you don't need to speak a native language to talk with someone. And so that kind of put me in a different perspective of how different and how you can interact with other people. And it can really help. And it's very, very helpful. And so after we constructed the playground and the geodome and everything, there was a little ribbon ceremony held. And it was like the official opening for the playground. And afterwards, all the kids started swinging on the slides and they were having so much fun, and the expression on their faces was amazing. But one memory I have from the project was after building the geodome, this little 2-year-old boy, and he was the brother of one of the guys who actually helped me build the geodome. He didn't know how to use the geodome. He was 2 years old, and along with his other friends and other little kids. So I guided him to the geodome and I climbed on it. And I showed him how to swing. I was like, this is how you swing. And I showed him how to do it, and his older brother showed him too. And his face was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And so were the other kids. They were having so much fun. They were laughing, they were playing. And that's probably one memory I remember the most from finishing the project, was that the children were very excited. They were very happy, and they were just having fun. And I'm glad, as a takeaway from that project, they're getting that physical education that they need and just having fun overall. I bet they're playing right now, so I can just imagine the expression on their faces it's just priceless. It's amazing.
Well, what an amazing project. Thank you for sharing that. So you said that the playground was actually your initial idea for your project, and that the collection of all the other donations was secondary. So what made the playground interesting to you to start with, and then how did it transition into creating a donation drive also?
Well, first I noticed the Hurricane Matthew impact was devastating, but I also noticed that the playground transportation and building was going to take a lot of time. But the playground was a little bit easier to kind of establish first. So that way, when it was finished, I can do the donation drive. So basically the time frame and just the construction of the two, I sort of looked at each other. They're both equally as important, of course. But I noticed that the playground was something that I really wanted to get into the community and the space and everything. And then the donations were afterwards.
How did you connect with the person from the Haiti consulate?
So I needed, of course, a mentor or a guide to help me find a specific place or a certain area that needed help. And that was the Haitian consulate of Orlando. And I actually did my research, and I was wondering if there was maybe a Haitian consulate. And so through my research, I did find her, and my mom actually knew her office downtown. And so she didn't quite visit her, or she didn't visit her, but she knew where the location was. And we had passed it a couple times driving past there, but mainly my mom was my help, but also researching.
And I know that you mentioned that you reached out to quite a few cruise ship companies, and that you finally connected with Royal Caribbean. So once you connected with them, what were the logistics like of organizing all of the donations and getting them to the ship? And then at the other end, you did describe how you got the donations off the ship, but just big picture logistics in all of that, those moving parts. How did you manage all of that?
So on the way down to Port Canaveral, where Royal Caribbean Cruise Line's warehouse is, I actually met with my mom and told her I need to speak with a representative who will grant me permission. So I started making phone calls and asking the company, and one lady told us that we could drive them to the warehouse of Royal Caribbean, and she told us that we were able to ship them for free at no extra cost. Just go ahead and drop them off there. And I personally went there with my parents, and when we got there, the 97 boxes were then mounted onto 4 pallets. So 97 boxes divided into 4 separate pallets and things. And what they did was they brought them into the warehouse, and they were left there to be inspected by canines, and just to make sure that everything was good for clearance to be on the ship. And I actually met with the captain and told him my project. And I told him the donations are on the ship. And he was like, I know. So, of course, getting it from the warehouse to the ship, that's basically what happened. It was really good to see the boxes come out of the unloading dock and actually standing next to the wrapped boxes. And it said where it was going and things like that and what it was designated for.
What was your biggest challenge during your project, and how did you work through it?
Transportation, but as well as speaking, I would say, communicating with other people from another country of a different language, learning that too. But transportation, just trying to get those donations to the specific area possible. I don't think any other factors were much of a challenge other than that. There weren't any major challenges.
And so you traveled to Haiti for your Gold Award project. There aren't very many people that have the opportunity to travel to Haiti. And those that I've talked to that have are, they just cannot believe the level of poverty that Haiti is in. What surprised you most about Haiti? What is your biggest takeaway from Haiti?
So the takeaway I would say from traveling to Haiti would be the people that I interacted with and the people I met and their culture. It's indescribable. I mean, when you go there and when you're in a completely different country and you're helping a community out, and when you see people helping you out and also speaking to you, even though you have no idea what they're saying, but you're still trying to talk to them, but also they're not, upset. They're grateful. So that's one thing I would say from Haiti is that they're grateful, but they're also very kind. And it's a beautiful country and the people are amazing.
What is your biggest takeaway or thing that you learned from your Gold project?
I would say my takeaway from my Girl Scout Gold Award project would have to be what I have accomplished from it. I've accomplished life skills. I've accomplished getting out of my comfort zone, experiencing things on a whole new scale. It's something I've never done before. And so the takeaway would be just those things, and that I've built on my perspective on how things work outside of the country and how I can take action. It doesn't just have to be just very simple. It can be, if you want to help, go out and help. I would say that would be my takeaway.
Okay. What other Girl Scout experiences have impacted you most?
Probably camp, but also the journeys within Girl Scouts and the fun activities and programs that they offer. I do enjoy each and every one of them, and I do take away something from each experience, and just the learning and understanding and really the experience from each program and event of Girl Scouts that I attend.
If you could change anything regarding your project, what would it be and why?
I would probably change nothing. I wouldn't change anything about it, because if I would have changed something, let's say I would have flown back and forth. If I would have not installed the extra geodome, if I would have stayed in the car and they just opened the boxes for themselves, the experience probably would have been different. But why would you want to change something that is just amazing? So I wouldn't change anything about it. It was great, basically.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience?
For anybody who is struggling to how to make a way to change their community, or if they're trying to find a project or some way to help out, step out of your comfort zone. You don't have to stay in your community and help out. You can go internationally or even globally. And don't be scared to, take action in another country. We live in a world with so many people, and traveling to another country, you can learn something. You can learn a new language, you can learn new experiences, and we live in a world with so many people. Just don't be scared to reach out and say, I want to help this community. I want to go and make a difference, because you can.
What's your favorite s'mores trick?
So my favorite s'mores trick is, those little wood sticks, the ones that come in the packages? Well, I use them a little bit. Like what I mean by use them is I used to use them, but I prefer using an actual stick. So that's one way to kind of be campy outdoors. And what I would do is I would get the marshmallow. I'd probably get 2. And hopefully it doesn't crush the graham cracker. And not put it into the fire because that will burn it. But don't put it above the fire because it'll take too long. But put it in just right so that it's warm and that it's toasty. And then you can, one thing I like to do is put the chocolate inside the marshmallow so that when it melts, it cooks it. So that way you don't have to put the chocolate on top and then you have to wait for it to melt. It's already in there.
That's unique. I haven't heard that one before. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Kelsey.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
It was great having you. So this was Hearts of Gold. And don't forget to power your passion and conquer your challenges. Thank you.
The Hearts of Gold program is brought to you by the Grow and Share Network in partnership with Off the Walter Media Productions. If you want to share your story of how you earned your Gold Award, send an email to growandshare@outlook.com. All episodes of the Hearts of Gold program are available to view at youtube.com/Cheryl Robinson. That's youtube.com/SHERYL Cheryl Robinson. Thank you for listening. Take care, and we'll see you next time.